Why is it so hard to make friends as an adult? This question is like a phenomenon that sneaks up on us, often without warning. One minute we're kids, living it up, building memories, and diving headfirst into adventures with friends like there's no tomorrow. And then boom, we're adults. The responsibilities pile up, and before we know it, we're knee deep in real life. It's like those friendships we cherished as kids start to slip away, almost without realizing it. It's a sneaky, slow process. And in adulthood, in those nostalgic moments, we look around and wonder what all those past friends and former classmates are up to. Where do they live now? What did they do with their lives? What did they do for work? What are their accomplishments? And in modern day adult fashion, we attend the typical avenues to make friends: fitness classes, networking events, professional associations. But for some reason, those just don't hit the same as when we were kids. And that brings us back to the initial question. Why is it so hard to make friends as an adult? And I believe I have the answer to this question. But the answer isn't simple, so let's explore this piece by piece. And that brings us to the first reason. Limited time and energy. An obvious challenge with adult friendships is simply finding the time and energy. Remember those carefree days of our youth? The afternoons felt endless, and we had all the time in the world to hang out with friends at school or on the playground. But now, adulthood hits us with a ton of responsibilities, making it very difficult to divide up the pie and allocate the time throughout our lives. Between all of our commitments, our schedules become jam-packed. There's barely any breathing room or downtime, let alone making time for friends. At times it can feel like we're juggling a million things at once. Add in a few extracurriculars like going to the gym, and that barely leaves any time for socializing at the end of the day. Another harsh reality of adulthood is sometimes we tend to grow apart from old friends. Our belief systems evolve, our worldview changes, and our desires out of life also change. And before we know it, we've disconnected from the life we once knew. Under that same process, we step into adulthood. Our priorities and values undergo a big transformation. New things seem to consume most of the space in our minds. Things like making money, starting families, or trying to formulate a game plan on how we can leave our legacies in this world. As adults, we truly understand the meaning of the term time is money. And this shift isn't just a matter of growing up, it's a seismic recalibration of our entire outlook on life. Our friendships, which were once the cornerstone of our existence, now find themselves competing for space in our packed schedules. It's not that we don't value the need for these connections anymore. It's just that our focus has shifted, and with it, our capacity to invest in them. This evolution in priorities can create a large void, not only a void with our old friends, but also with the prospect of forming new friendships. Another significant barrier in establishing new friendships in adulthood is the fear of rejection and allowing ourselves to be vulnerable. Unlike the relatively safe childhood friendships, where bonds were often formed effortlessly over shared experiences, adult relationships require a willingness to be vulnerable. The fear of putting oneself out there, only to face rejection or indifference, can be a powerful deterrent in seeking new connections. As adults, we become more guarded, more wary of investing our time, and a little more stingy about where our energy goes into relationships, especially with the thought of those relationships not panning out, which leads many of us to retreat into familiar circles rather than risk the discomfort of new rejection. Adulthood can be surprisingly isolating. The challenge of making new friends as an adult is a multifaceted issue, rooted in the complexities of modern life, from time constraints to shifting priorities to the fear of rejection and to the limited social opportunities. Numerous factors contribute to the difficulty of forging meaningful connections as adults. But it's essential to remember that friendship is a vital component of the human experience, enriching our lives in ways both profound and immeasurable. But it's not all doom and gloom. I do have some good news. By recognizing these obstacles, it's a first step, and it sets the table for us to actively work to overcome these hurdles. That way we can cultivate connections that bring us joy, support, and fulfillment in our lives, something that we all deserve.